All right, project 2-4, here we go. I'm going to go through the entire project. So we'll see, it may have to be split onto 2 videos depending on how fast I go. Let's go to step number 2. I've already downloaded my file, so we're going to go to the tables tab. For the table sheet, we're going to select cells A6 through B10, and we are going to create range names based on this information. So we're going to go to the formulas tab, and we're going to create it from selection is what our instructions say. And so all you're going to do, you're going to leave this the same and then hit OK. So if I come into my name manager, I can see that now I've got my range of names that I've used in my worksheet or my workbook. Step number 3, we're going to select cells B1 to F2, and we are going to name this one H rates. So we're going to define our name, and we're going to type in H underscore rates. So that's going to add it to our name manager right here. Now we've got the ones that we created before, and now we've got H rates, and we're going to use that later on in the project. Step number 4, we're going to use an H lookup function to display the bonus rate. So we're going to click on commissions, and we're going to be right here in the bonus rate column. So we're going to start an H lookup. So you're going to be on formulas under the lookup tab. Now you can just type it into the formula bar, but I do like using the box. I think it helps a little bit explain what I'm putting in there. We're going to use cell E5 as the lookup value. And then our table array is going to be our H rates table that we just created. So I can simply type that in. Oops, got plus out of there. And then we're going to use column 2, or the second row, sorry, that we want to use. Usually it's columns, it's row, to look up the information. And I'm going to hit OK, and it's going to give me back the bonus rate based on my information right here that I created before. So I'm going to copy this formula down, and then it says we want to, in step number 5, format the results as percent style with 2 decimal places. So on the home tab, you can use that. I do like to come into the number box to make sure that my decimal places is correct, just to double check. So percentage with 2 decimal places is how we're going to format that. Step number 6, oops, I copied already. So I copied first and then changed, but you can make it and then change it. Number 7, we're going to calculate the total earnings. So we're going to use our order of operations here. So select cell G5. We're going to build a formula that adds our commission amount to the rate times the commission. So what we're going to do is we're going to say equal commission plus, sorry, I was just reading through to double check. We're going to use our parentheses, and we're going to say F5 times E5, and close it with my parenthesis. And so that's how much I've calculated with my total, with my bonus rate for my total earnings. And then I'm going to copy that cell down to calculate the rest of that selection. All right, step number, sorry, my papers are all mixed up. All right, so we're going to jump over to step number 8. We're going to create and copy a SUMIF function to calculate total earnings by branch office. So we're going to scroll down and be under here. We're going to be in cell E18, and we're going to start a SUMIF. So I'm in formulas. In my math and trig, I'm going to scroll down, and we're just doing a SUMIF, not ifs, because we only have one if statement there. So my range is going to be D5 through D14. So I'm going to come up here and use D5 through D14, and I'm going to make that absolute. So I'm going to use my function F4. If your function isn't working, just put your $ signs in there. The criteria is going to be relative to cell C18. So I'm going to use that branch as my criteria. And then my sum range is going to be G5 through G14. So right here, total earnings. So what I'm saying is every branch, every Cameron Park, I want them to add the total earnings together in that formula. And then we also want to make that absolute as well. So we're going to do function F4 again to make that an absolute reference. And then I'm going to hit OK. And so what it's done is it's added all of my Cameron Park total earnings together. I'm going to copy the formula. And it says without formatting. So what I'm going to do, and it says something like that, you can just hit copy, highlight your cells, and click your paste options and just do the formulas. And then I can come in and format as currency. So I'm going to jump down to my number format box, click on currency, and hit OK. Now, SimNet sometimes, for some reason, will change this to accounting. I still haven't figured out what's going on with that. So if you get marked wrong, that your number format is wrong, just leave me a note and I learn, because I know sometimes it does mark that wrong. But double check before. If you just use the $sign, it is accounting. So that's why you're going to go into the number format. And maybe that's what some people are doing, is just using that $sign. I really have no idea. So just make sure you're using currency. If it marks you wrong and you know you did currency, leave me a note in iLearn, and I'll add that point back in. Cell E21, we're going to total our earnings. So we're just going to use our auto sum and hit enter, and it will add up those columns for us. Step number 10, create and format the current date. So we're going to select cell G23. And we're going to insert the now function. So I'm going to come into formulas, and we're going to use date and time. We've got our now, and we're just going to hit enter or hit OK, and it will put what time and date you're working on it. And then we're going to go to the number group, so home number format, and we're going to click on date, and we want to use the date that has the month spelled out like a regular date, so we don't actually want the time in there. And then press OK. And then it says press Control Home, which just takes you back to cell A1. Step 11, create and copy a VLOOKUP function to display goals for each funding source. So we're going to be on the family day sheet. We're going to use a VLOOKUP function. So we're going to be in cell F6. We're going to come to formulas, lookup, and use our VLOOKUP. We're going to use, for the lookup value, We're going to use cell E6, so we're referencing that one. And then click the table sheet, so I'm in 11C. Click the table sheet tab for the table rate argument and use cells A6 through B10. So we're going to click on tables and we're going to use A6 through B10. And we want that to be an absolute, so we're going to use our function button, function F4, to make that absolute. And the reason we do that is, oops, let's go back to family. No, I'm messing things up. The reason we do that is when I copy, I want it to be stay the same, so it doesn't change when I copy. We're going to use the second column as our column index, so 2 right in there, and then I'm going to hit OK. So it's going to tell me my goal, and then this is important. So in step 11E, it says copy the formula so that you can preserve the fill color. So I'm going to come to my home tab and click copy, and I'm going to highlight all the way down, and I'm going to use my paste options and just do my formula. If I were to just drag this down, it would all be that yellowish color. So that's why we want to use just our formula, copy just our formula. And we're going to format all of that information as currency with no decimal places. So again, currency, 0 decimal places, and hit OK. Oh, let's go back in. Let's try that again. Currency, 0, there we go. Number 12, we're going to create a copy of an if function. Create and copy, not create a copy. Select cell H6 and start an if function. So formulas, look up in reference, or sorry, it's under logical, and if. And I'm actually going to stop there. Actually, no, I've got time. I'll finish and then we'll be able to be on one video. So we're going to type a logical argument to determine if cell G6, so we're going to say G6 is greater than or equal to F6. Okay, that's our function, or that's our logical argument. Then if that's true, it's going to leave yes in my box, in my cell, and if it's false, it's going to say no, leave no in my cell. And then I hit OK. And so we've said if G6 is greater than or equal to F6, then we're going to say yes. And then if it's less than, it will say no. And then we're going to copy this formula down, making sure that we preserve the colors. So we're going to click copy, select my cells, paste options, formulas. And then it wants us to center align our H6 through H20, and then return control home. All right, and then the last step is step 13. We're going to create a new sheet at the end. So I've got to drag this down, and we're going to name it range names. And what we're going to do is paste our list of range names. So we're going to come up to formulas, use in formula, paste names, paste list. And that's all you have to do on that one. You can make your cell a little bit bigger if you want to. And then you'll just save and upload your file. So good luck.